Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to a new video on Buckeye Politics. It's me, your favorite Ohioan. Today we are doing a prediction for 2024 between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and President Joe Biden. Um, I feel like this is a very there's a very high chance we could see this happening in 2024, just because as of now, Biden he's not doing a good job in office, but he's really the best the Democrats have. The Democrats know Kamala is going to lose. And right now, I think Trump is going to run, but I do think a lot could change. A lot of that depends on the midterms and his health. I think he will run, but DeSantis is also a very viable option. Let's say it's about 50-50 between the two of them. So with that, I feel we're not going to get into vice presidents and all that crap. But yeah, so we have Joe Biden versus Ron DeSantis. We're going to film the safe states for Ron DeSantis. Obviously, all the Great Plains and the Rocky Mountain regions. All of Nebraska except the 2nd District. Kansas, Missouri, the Deep South, of course, up through Appalachia. I think Iowa would actually be safe. Ohio, however, Ohio we'll get to in a second. The states of South Carolina and Alaska will also be safe for Ron DeSantis. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's safe states will be in the entire West Coast, as well as Hawaii. Probably not Colorado. Colorado's an interesting one. We'll get back to that. But he will probably win Illinois, the entire Northeast, New York, and that is it. The likely states for Ron DeSantis. Actually, we're going to do likely states for Joe Biden just because there's a few of the states I want to talk about. The states of Virginia and Colorado would both be likely for Joe. If they wouldn't be competitive. It'd probably be Joe Biden would probably win Virginia and Colorado by about 9 points each. But just because DeSantis is slightly more moderate and slightly more well liked than Trump, and he would do better in the suburbs because of his rhetoric, I do believe both these states would slim it up a little bit. Would slim it up a bit. Certainly not enough to be competitive in any way, shape, or form. But Biden would DeSantis, would definitely outperform Trump. These are all Biden's likely states. Actually, no. Maine's 1st District would be likely for Biden because it's Maine's 1st District. It's that part of that whole northeastern Republican northeastern liberal area. But it is getting tighter because of a lot of white working class voters do live there. So I think it would tighten up a little bit, as will the entire state of Maine. But Biden would still win Maine's 1st pretty handily. The likely states for Ron DeSantis include the states of Texas, Ohio, and Florida. All Florida and Ohio are two very red trending states. Ohio, he could win it by a safe margin, but just because Biden does have that small amount of working class appeal and the suburban appeal, I do think Ohio would probably Ohio would be under 10, probably be like 9.5, 9.8, barely under 10, but it would be under 10, so DeSantis would win it by a likely margin. The state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, a few months ago, I would have had him winning by probably close to a safe margin, about 9-10 points. But now because of COVID trends, I believe there were 300 children and people in Florida schools who tested positive for COVID, and several have died. They're all no children, just like adults and teachers, janitors, that kind of stuff. And that's going to happen in every state. But DeSantis is getting a lot of blame from that from the media, of course. So because of that, his popularity has decreased a little bit, but still in a presidential race, especially in the red trending state of Florida, he would win it by a likely margin, probably by about 6 points. Texas, Ron DeSantis would hopefully stop the bleeding in some of the major urban areas in Texas, but he'd slow the bleeding down a little bit, but he certainly by no means would reverse all those trends. But he would do a little bit better in the suburbs and probably a little bit better throughout the rest of the state in general. So I don't know if it would swing to the left or it would swing to the right. No matter what, it would make a very small trend, maybe half a point left, half a point right. It really depends on how the rest of Biden's term goes. These are all the likely states. I'm looking at the lean states for Joe Biden. We have the states of New Mexico. Did not mean to move the map. I apologize. Minnesota and Maine at large. These are all states that are very Democratic. New Mexico, I'm putting under 5 because I do think New Mexico could be competitive again. If you look at Hispanic trends across New Mexico, oil as well. And their governor also, the governor's race is also getting kind of tight. I don't think it would be super competitive, but it could be under 5. Probably be similar to Maine in 2016. It wasn't. It was kind of a sleeper swing state, but it still was closer than most people expected. New Mexico, I could see New Mexico becoming the next Maine. In terms of occasionally being incredibly close and probably trending red, especially because New Mexico's economy is so reliant on oil. Not a lot of people talk about that, arguably more than Texas is. Um, Minnesota, DeSantis would do a little bit better in the suburbs of Minneapolis. They still probably. It'd be interesting to see how they would vote, because I feel like 2020 was certainly an outlier, and Minnesota will be much more competitive in 2024, 2028. But I still think we go to Biden probably about 2-3 points. Um, and Maine at large, it's Maine, probably similar to 2016 margins, just under 5. It would go to Biden. DeSantis' lean states include the states of North Carolina, Arizona, and actually Maine's second district would be likely. I forgot to fill that in. And Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a state that's going to likely go red almost no matter what in 2024 and 2022. Arizona is a state that DeSantis would. It's gonna be a swing state for a while. Don't believe all the stuff you hear about Republicans saying, or Democrats and Republicans. Some Republicans saying Arizona's gone. Arizona's gonna be competitive for the next few cycles. It's gonna be a similar state to maybe Ohio, how Ohio was before 2016, kind of a bellwether swing state. And North Carolina is a safe, lean state. I've said it so many times. Um, I believe that is it for Ron DeSantis and Biden that I wanted to talk about. Nebraska's second district would lean to Ron DeSantis because I don't know, they're gonna gerrymander it. To be honest, Nebraska governor will gerrymander the second district, making it probably a lean R district, and I think it actually is lean R currently on like the PVI or whatever the hell it's called. I think it is a lean R district, but so it would probably make it even more Republicans on the presidential level, especially. Another reason I think Ron DeSantis does so well in Arizona is because Arizona loves John McCain, and for better or worse, a lot of his family and supporters, specifically the anti-Trump ones, have endorsed Ron DeSantis and have promoted him. Now, I feel like, as someone who's very populist, it's kind of a taint on him, to be honest. But we're talking about pure electability right now, so Arizona would probably lean because there are a lot of hardcore McCain supporters that voted for Biden just because they didn't like Trump in Arizona. We're going to have the tilt states now. Joe Biden's tilt states include the states of Michigan and Georgia and New Hampshire. New Hampshire is notorious for hating the incumbent president, and if DeSantis runs a slightly more Trump almost won it in 2016 on pure populism, so it was really Trump going a little more conservative. So if DeSantis runs a good campaign that's populist and similar to Trump's 2016, and because New Hampshire is notorious for hating incumbents, I can't see DeSantis winning in New Hampshire. I mean, I can see him winning in New Hampshire, but right now I'm putting it for Biden just because it is more of a lean D state. Georgia is pretty much gone for the GOP, but I think DeSantis would make it much closer, probably similar to 2024 margins. If it was Trump, I'd put it as lean. Michigan is a state that's very interesting. You got a lot of places in the Grand Rapids that trended blue. Inner city Detroit turned out in heavy numbers for Joe Biden. But there was also a few more suburban counties in Michigan outside Detroit that trended heavy Republican and have a lot of votes that the Republicans can pick up, and the rest of the state is just going to keep getting redder. So with that, I do think Biden will narrowly win Michigan, but it would be incredibly close, probably the closest state in this election. The last two states are the states of Pennsylvania and Nevada, which I both believe would narrowly go to Ron DeSantis. Pennsylvania, Biden really only won it because he's the whole native son thing, which a lot of people will not buy that. I mean, if DeSantis can just run a decent campaign, as long as DeSantis can keep the Trump vote out, which he likely will, especially with a Trump endorsement, and he does a little bit better in the Philadelphia suburbs, boom, he wins it. Especially because a lot of people in the Philadelphia suburbs, specifically places like Allentown, the white working class people to the north and kind of near the New Jersey border, a lot of them, Biden ran a campaign specifically targeting people like that, who probably were leaning towards Trump, and then they were like, you know what, Biden, he's from here, you know, he knows our ethics, he knows our values, so they voted for him, and he clearly does not. So I think we can all agree that but Ron DeSantis would win a lot of those voters back, and the fact he would do better in the suburbs would probably allow him to narrowly flip the state of Pennsylvania. The state of Nevada is a state that I am very, very confident about. I'm going out on a limb, and I think Nevada has a very high chance of flipping red, especially if you look at the Hispanic trends in Las Vegas, specifically inner city and North Las Vegas. The rural areas are just going to keep getting redder. Reno is the only issue. I think it could get a few points more blue, but with DeSantis' suburban appeal, along with trending red Hispanics in inner city Las Vegas, I do see DeSantis flipping Nevada. So with that, this is the 2024 prediction between Ron DeSantis and Joe Biden. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.